Uh-uh, man's alive. Welcome, everybody. Pure Finesse, weekly recap. First time in a long time. First one of November. First one of the cold
Oh
weather,
wow.
not so cold weather, because this week has been absolutely fantastic weather-wise in Canada, parts of the United States. Speaking of the United States, Malcolm, the rain is
Yep.
over.
Celebratory events will be happening because Mr. Joe Biden is president-elect in the United States right now.
It will not
I
be
love to see
over
it.
tonight, that
Some
is for
good news.
sure, because I'm
Yeah.
sure your boy sitting right now in the White House is going to be challenging every way possible to get himself
Yeah.
back into the seat. So this is far from over, I'm sure. But yes,
Mhm.
the reign of terror is over in the United States
It's
of America.
election month. Election month. But we're not here to talk about the election. We're not a political podcast. We're here to talk about some sports. And we'll
Far
get
from
right
it.
into that. Yeah, far from it. We'll get right into it with the NFL. And we did have our game picks last week. We didn't get to post a video, but we did post it on our IG.
It was a good thing we
And
did it from a Malcolm score.
yeah, game picks for Combe. They're 6-7, bringing my overall to 78, 33-1. Not a great week at all, but Jay coming in strong, catching up here, going 8-5. So he cut the lead down to 3 games, and his overall is 75, 36-1.
At the
So
halfway point.
yeah, at the halfway point of the season. So overall, I think we both have very good records. Compared to some
Better than
analysts.
you see on the sports shows before Monday's
e-
football starts.
Exactly. Like we predicted better.
You know
If you
what?
need,
Before we start week 9, we'll
yeah.
post their records and our records and see where we stack up.
Yeah, like
Just for
which ones are
fun.
more realistic? If you need some advice for betting, ask Jay, or me. Like we know who's going to win, we know who's not going to win, except for last week. That was just
Yeah,
me. So,
nice.
but we're going to get into the games this week. I'll start it off with the undefeated Pittsburgh Steelers, favored at
Yeah.
14.5 over the Dallas Cowboys. Who do you have winning this
Danucci.
game?
Ben Danucci, baby. No. Pittsburgh will stay undefeated. No question about
Mm.
it. But Danucci, is this his last start?
I don't think he's even starting.
Oh,
They're saying they're going to.
yes, he is. Andy Dalton
Yeah,
has caught COVID, so he is out,
yeah.
obviously. So one more week of
No,
Danucci.
It's not Danucci. It's Gilbert is going to be playing. They're not.
Garrett Gilbert.
They're benching
Another
Danucci. They
reason
benched
why
Danucci.
it's another reason why you should hate the Cowboys.
Yeah, the four-string quarterback is coming into play for them, so that's going to be exciting to watch. So yeah, I think we both were confident with that one. The next game we have the Broncos against the Falcons, and the Falcons are favored by 4 points. How do you like this one?
So last week Denver played the LA Chargers, right? And they were
Yeah,
absolutely butt swacked in the first half, and I turned it off saying there's no way Denver will be able to come back and win this one. And to my shock and chagrin, they did.
they did.
So LA keeps winning, baby.
Yeah,
But Denver versus Atlanta. Atlanta got their first win of the season last Thursday night against Carolina. I think they keep it rolling because Atlanta, I think, is just too good of a team to be
yeah,
1-7. I believe it is now 1-7. This is week 9, so
yeah.
I would say Atlanta wins and gets on the 2 straight win train.
I agree with you too. I think Atlanta, like you said, they're way too good of an offense to be losing these games, so they need to get on that winning streak again. The next one we have the
Big
MVP
game.
candidate right now, Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks going up against the Buffalo Bills, and the Seahawks favored by 3 points. Who do you think is going to pull out this one?
I believe the Buffalo Bills will be winning this
Wow.
game. Seattle's defense is soft, cannot stop a nosebleed.
Mm-hmm.
Russell Wilson has had his way with a lot of teams, like we've seen. Tyler Lockett, #1 receiver in fantasy right now. How are you? Buffalo's D is pretty good, so you're going to see Trey White against Tyler Lockett or DK, one or the other. But Buffalo's offense is going to be really good, and they're going to have their way with Seattle's defense. So I say the Bills are winning this one.
I think that Seattle's offense, I think it's going to be a battle of the offenses, and I think Seattle's offense will do better than Bill's offense, and I think Seattle
Mm.
is going to pull out this win. So there's the first split we have. Finally, we don't want to keep hearing these same picks from Jay and Colm, so there's one that differs. The next one, we have the Baltimore Ravens, who just came off a big loss to the Steelers against the Indianapolis Colts,
Yeah, point that out again, eh?
the number one defense in the league, and Indianapolis is favored by a point
Yeah,
this
I'm
game.
shocked. I'm
Yeah,
shocked. I have Baltimore winning this one. I don't think this team is. I don't know, but Lamar showed signs of weakness last week.
yeah.
But you can chalk that up to play calling. and you can chalk that up to Pittsburgh's defense being Pittsburgh's defense. But
What can I say?
Indy put up 41 last week. So, I mean, it's
Exactly.
possible. But Baltimore wins. I don't think this team is too good on paper to be losing 2 straight games.
Exactly. I think Lamar, when he gets angry, like when he lost to the Kansas City, he came back strong the next week and he pulled up a win. I think he'll do the same thing this week and win against Indianapolis as well. The next one we have not a good matchup. I was going to say good matchup, but it's the Houston Texans against the Jacksonville Jaguars, and Houston is favored by a touchdown
Oh,
or
yeah.
a touchdown and a PAT, so 7 points. Who do you think wins this one?
Texans, no question about it. No Gardner
Yeah.
Minshew for Jacksonville. So you have another rookie quarterback coming into play. Deshaun Watson is going to have a monster game fantasy-wise, I would
Yeah.
think.
I think
Will Fuller was
Mm,
spewing in trade speculation that never happened. Brandon Cooks has had some huge games since the coaching
yeah.
change. So I say I'd go Houston.
Yeah, Houston all the way for this one too, I believe as well. The next one we have Christian McCaffrey returning against the Kansas City Chiefs. He is activated, but I was looking more into it. Doesn't mean he's going to be dressed if he's
Because Mike
activated.
Davis is doing Mike Davis things.
Exactly, and might just roll with Mike Davis and just they don't want to get Christian injured again. But Kansas City's favored by 10.5. Do you think Mike Davis gets it done against the Chiefs, or do you think Mahomes
Absolutely
wins
not.
this one?
Chiefs
Yeah,
win. It will not be more than now. I know for 10.5 is a bit of a stretch, I think, because Carolina.
yeah, I
If you
think
were
so
to
too.
tell me that Teddy Bridgewater would lead the league in completion percentage, it would be
Yeah, that's
something else.
crazy. Hmm.
So maybe Teddy Two Gloves can pull off an upset against Kansas City, but this offense is just unbelievably stacked. And the weak point right now in Carolina has been their defense. So
Yeah.
offense will prevail, and I think Kansas City will win.
Yeah, I agree. Kansas City, Patty Mahomes, just too many threats on that offense. Carolina does not have the defense to stop them. We got a good one. Detroit Lions against the Minnesota Vikings. Dalvin Cook coming off that monster game last week. They're favored by 4.5. The Vikings are. Do you think the Vikings continue to win?
Yeah, I think they do too. Kenny Galladay is out for Detroit with a hip
Yep.
injury. Probably one of the best deep threat weapons in all of the NFL. I think if he plays, Detroit wins, but I do think Minnesota does win. Dalvin Cook coming off a 44-point fantasy week last
At
week.
44.
So yeah, the rich get richer when it comes to fantasy teams. Like last week was Dalvin Cook 44, the week before Tyler Lockett 53. How are you?
Yeah, it's so many huge games in fantasy this year. You're seeing guys break out for monster games, and it's honestly it's fun to watch for fantasy owners, for just casual football fans. It's fun to
Well,
watch high
yeah,
school
like if
games.
you're a fantasy team and you don't put up more than 100 points, you're in trouble.
Yeah, that's saying something. Like in a 12-man league and you're not putting up 100 still, yeah, that's kind of saying something. But who knows? I think Dalvin Cook he's on pace. I was looking up on for like 27 touchdowns, 1,600 rushing yards. He's going, and for 15 games, he could be breaking some records, and he might be in the MVP talks. There's a lot of good running backs this year, so who knows? But
Hmm.
we're going to go down to the next game. It's the Chicago Bears against the Tennessee Titans. Titans favorite at 6.5. I believe that the Titans are going to win this game. I think that I know Chicago's defense is really good, but I think Derrick Henry's just going to bulldoze right through them. What about you?
Well, yeah, Tennessee is coming off, I would say, the biggest upset of the season last week, losing to Cincinnati, giving up 30
Yeah.
points to Cincinnati. So they are going
Yep.
to be out. They're smelling blood because they need. I would.
They
We
need a
didn't predict
win.
that, obviously. So
Yeah.
yeah, Tennessee will win. I don't think they can get back-to-back losses against Cincinnati and then Chicago, because that would just be a major gut. Like
Yeah.
this team is good, but if they lose to Chicago, there's going to be some serious question marks in Tennessee, big
Like
time.
Chicago's acting sus lately. Like they're what team, like six
They're
and
a
five
game
and two or
behind
something
Green
like
Bay
that.
for the division lead right now.
Exactly. And
I
I
think
just
they're in
don't
a
think
wild
that they're
card
going to be able to
position.
maintain. I don't think they're going to be able to maintain that for the rest of the season, though. So
No.
I think they're going to fall out of the playoff spot in these later games. So who knows? But yeah, I agree with you. Tennessee's going to come out strong for this one. The next game, we have an NFC least matchup in the New York Giants and the Washington football team. Washington is favored by 3 points. Who do you think is going to pull out this just amazing game,
Well,
this
you would
quality
think
game?
the Giants would win after taking Tom Brady to a 2-point conversion almost to overtime. But I
Yeah.
do have the football team winning this game.
Yep.
I think it was just a one-off fluke. That defense in Washington is no joke, even though their record is
Yeah.
a joke. and their division is a joke. But yeah, Washington wins and only puts them 2 games behind the division leaders in the NFC East. No team is
This
out of
is
it.
it's just awful to see, man. Like I don't want a losing team in the playoffs again. Like when the Seahawks did that with their 7-9
I was gonna
team.
say, do you know the
It's just
last team to have a losing record in the playoffs? But I guess you do. Seattle.
like, give me the football trivia and I'll get it right, not the basketball trivia.
Exactly. Still waiting
But
for that one.
exactly. We're going to go down to another game. It's the Chargers against the Raiders. And this is going to be a close one, I think. The Chargers are favored by just 1 point. And for this one, I do have the Raiders, despite all their injuries and everything, I do have them pulling out this win over Justin Herbert. And I think they're going to pull this one out. How about you?
I do not. I have the Los Angeles
Yeah,
Chargers winning. They have
thought
too
so.
many games where they just kill a teams and then they blow it. They have to get at least right once. And this
Mhm.
The Raiders secondary is weak. Minus Jonathan
Yeah, it
Abram, who
is.
should be the rookie of the year defensively in the AFC.
Wow.
Justin Herbert's unbelievable. Keenan Allen, I heard though, is out with an
Ooh,
illness. We haven't heard if it's COVID, but it's an
COVID.
illness. But Mike Williams, I would start Mike Williams if you're a fantasy owner because
Yeah,
he is going to be getting a lot of touches if there is no Keenan Allen. So, yes, I think the Los Angeles Chargers pull off this win against the Vegas Raiders, who are contending for the last playoff speed right now in the AFC.
that is true. So there's your second different opinion from Jay and Calm. So we have 2 games that we don't think are going to just a bit different. This next one, I think will both agree on. It's the Miami Dolphins against the Arizona Cardinals, and the Cardinals are favored by 4.5. Who do you think is going to win this
Yeah,
one?
Mr. Kyler Murray, DeAndre
Yeah,
Hopkins got this one done.
yeah,
Tua had, I would say, an underwhelming first start of his NFL career, but you can chalk it up to his defense playing absolutely unbelievable. If
yeah,
you had, if by some miracle, if you had Miami's defense last week, I think you would have been very, very, very happy.
yeah,
Kickoff return, fumble return for a touchdown. So I think I would think all of the world thought they overperformed against the Los Angeles Rams.
yeah.
So I would say the Arizona Cardinals pull off this win and are somewhat in the hunt for the division if
Yeah.
Seattle loses against Buffalo.
Is Kyler Murray in the MVP
I would think
talks?
so.
Do
Are
you
you
think?
nuts?
I would think so too. Second season, he's has better stats rushing and passing than Lamar Jackson himself. I just think he's just balling out. He has D Hop with him. He has 2 good running backs. Kenyon Drake injured, but Chase Edmonds coming up now. So 2 good running
saw
backs to
him
help
saw
him.
him on your starting lineup for fantasy this week.
Of course, in both leagues, of course. But yeah, I just think he's going to be an MVP candidate at the end of the season. So look out for that. Heard it here first again. Um, we have a nice Drew Brees versus Tom Brady,
On
New
Sunday
Orleans
night.
versus on Sunday night. Everyone should be watching this game. New Orleans versus Tampa Bay. Tampa favored by 4.5. I have Tom Brady and the Bucks winning this one. What about you?
Well, if you remember week one, it
Yeah.
was the New Orleans Saints pulling off this win against Tampa Bay. And I
Yep.
stick with my New Orleans Saints to win
Wow.
this game against Tampa Bay. Your boy can't
Michael
guard.
Thomas.
Mike Thomas is back
Yeah.
finally since that week one game. He will be suiting up. And it is the debut of Antonio Brown in Tampa Bay this week as well. So the
Yep.
storylines are all over the place for Sunday night. This is probably one to be the best games of the year, whether if it shows on the
Yeah.
football field or not. So I am excited for this one, and I do think the Saints pull off what you call the upset.
The upset. But there's the third game that we differ on, and then we're just going to go down to the last one. This should be
Oh, it should be a good Monday
the
night
boom
game, eh?
boom, the lock of the week is New England versus the Jets. New England favored by 8.5.
Boom, boom,
Who
boom.
do you think is going
Yeah.
to win this?
If I could
Just
put so
amazing match.
eloquently the boom, boom, boom lock pick, yes, the Patriots are winning this game. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we have to go much deeper into that. I think the Jets are on pace for an 0-16 season. Not going to lie.
Well, let me see. Let's see the rest of their schedule, just so that we're sticking with football. You might as well just stick with it. So if I pull
Mhm.
up the New York Football Jets schedule, their remaining games do include the LA Chargers,
Okay.
Miami Dolphins,
Okay.
Las Vegas Raiders, Seattle Seahawks, LA Rams, my Cleveland Browns, and to finish off the New England Patriots.
That's going to be kind of tough, I think, for
They
them.
will win 2 games. I would say
You
they
think
will
they
win
win
two
two? I
games.
heard 2 teams where I think they might be able to pull it off,
The
but
Patriots
they
again in Week 17,
yeah,
and the Dolphins.
and the Dolphins, yeah. But who knows? The Dolphins have been playing better, so I was kind of
Mhm.
thinking more they might pull off that upset. So who knows? But I'm predicting 0-16 season. But we'll get more into more football news. We're going to go down the COVID/injury report, and there's plenty to talk about here today. The first thing we have Patriots wide receiver Julian Edelman is on the IR after a knee surgery. So the Patriots and Cam Newton without their arguably best receiver, he's gone. So that's just sorry to see for Bill Belichick. He can continue making excuses. We'll get into that a bit later on as well. We have Ronnie Stanley. Did you see this injury? Ronnie Stanley out for the season with a severe ankle injury.
After getting paid handsomely.
Yeah, after getting that huge extension, yeah. But who was the guy that hit his? It was on the Steelers. It was an awkward fall, and they just landed on his ankle. I can't remember who exactly it was, but it was not a fun injury to watch. Hopefully, he recovers very fast because he's one of the most valuable assets on that offensive line. So hopefully, he comes back fast. Another offensive lineman, like we've talked about
The
before,
highest paid offensive lineman in the league.
Trent Brown on the Raiders. He was hospitalized after an IV mishap pregame to the game. So Jake told you and everyone that he got COVID earlier on, and now he's back. And then there was a mishap with his IV, so he's going to be hospitalized. We don't know how long he's going to be out for. Hopefully he comes back healthy too. I just hate seeing all these injuries and COVID. Just awful to see this year. Just ridiculous. Like, especially for this next team, the 49ers, with Tevin Coleman, George Kittle, and Jimmy Garoppolo all out again for the 49ers.
So if you weren't watching Thursday Night Football, it did say that they have $70 million tied up right now with injured players' contracts.
In the NFL?
The 49ers.
Yeah, that's, oh my gosh, 70 million.
70, and your cap is about 110, if you want to do the math.
Because you have your best receiver, arguably, and your quarterback.
Exactly. And I think that Kittle and Jimmy Garoppolo are both done for the season. Although they haven't said that they're done for the season, they are done for the season.
They said 6 to 8 weeks. Unless they're going up for the Super Bowl, I don't see them coming back. Another Baltimore Raven who was placed on – he's not injured, but Marlon Humphrey, he tested positive for COVID-19. So that's some Steelers have to watch out now because they just played them, and all the other – corners and safeties, they have to watch out. Probably some might be placed on that COVID-19 list. We'll see in the coming days, or it's actually tomorrow, so we might not see it at all. But yeah, hopefully he gets better. But they're going to be out with Marlon Humphrey this week. Not players, but John Elway, NFL legend. So the GM of the Broncos and the Broncos CEO, they both tested positive for COVID-19. I feel like this thing's just getting all around the league. What about you?
Yeah. You can see Saturday was the highest total in the United States with 125,000 cases, new cases. And if you look at the border on the 49th parallel, we probably have, 240 cases, and that's since the pandemic started, 240,000 cases. So they just doubled cut in half our total cases in a day from 6 months ago.
In 2 days, they basically just got what we got in the whole 6 months.
Correct.
Exactly. So just congratulations to you for the presidency of the U.S., but you're still not containing the virus. Hopefully, a president does a better job at doing that in January.
If we're going to keep calling it the non-political podcast, first thing that Joe Biden is doing is appointing a coronavirus task force tomorrow, Monday. Excuse me.
I think it's pretty obvious. It just has to be done because they're just out of control there. Every other nation seems like they've been able to lock it down, and the U.S. just doesn't know what to do. But again, with the COVID-19 list, Andy Dalton. Pardon?
We stick to sports.
We stick to sports. Andy Dalton, like we said earlier, he's been placed on the COVID-19 list. So we won't be seeing Ben DiNucci, but we'll be seeing Gilbert playing against the Steelers. So just watch out if you're a Cowboys fan. Zach Smith, Christian Miliambro.
Yeah, nice.
Have fun watching that game. Kendrick Bourne, he tests positive for COVID-19 as well.
As well as Brandon Ayuk.
And Brandon Ayuk. So what are the 49ers doing, man?
Like a
They're
CFL
just out with everyone right now. I'm just sad to see. Yeah, I'm saying they really are. It's not fun to watch right now. Matthew Stafford of the Lions, he was actually placed on the COVID-19 list, and his wife came out and was saying, why is he on it? He tested negative. He got tested afterwards, and he's testing negative. Everyone's freaking out. I think he'll be fine. He is
activated for Sunday's game.
Yeah, exactly. So he's going to be playing. He was just placed on it for precautionary reasons.
Don't worry, Jake Eagles. Don't worry, Jake.
I saw the tweet. You're fine. If you don't know, Jake just posted. It was like Matthew Stafford on the COVID-19 list. He quote tweeted and said pain, and he was just like, oh no, don't worry, you're still a Lions fan. There's much more worse things
There's
that
much
could
more
be
pain
happening.
than just that Stafford playing.
Exactly. The Kansas City Chiefs, they placed Chris Jones, their big defensive tackle, on the COVID-19 list as well. So he'll be on that list. And then we do have Des Bryant activated to the active roster for the Baltimore Ravens this week. How do you feel about Des returning to the NFL?
Throw up the X, baby. Well, it's too bad that Lamar Jackson is his quarterback.
Yeah, honestly, like after Marquise Brown getting mad last week.
Oh, yes. That was
Yeah,
awesome. Love to see it. As Brown Steelers fans, we love to
exactly.
see it.
We love to
Love
see
to
it.
see it. Not bad for running back.
Not bad for running back. Last year, okay. What are you doing this year, Lamar?
Yeah,
You
nice.
can't throw the ball. Oh, nice.
That's the
Whatever.
Madden curse, bro.
But Des Bryant is going to be if Lamar decides to throw. Des Bryant's a bigger receiver than Marquise Brown is, so he can go up and get them. And I
The
think
Madden curse.
that Des has something to prove, though. Des has something to prove, so I think he'll be good. But just not don't look for
Needs the
anything
touches.
special.
Needs the touches.
Don't start him in fantasy. Um, from my source, Ian Rappaport, there's a very real possibility that OBJ has played his last game with the Cleveland Browns. I just want your opinion on this. Do you think he's played his last game with the Cleveland Browns as a Browns fan?
I wouldn't say he is playing his last game with the Browns, but if I were to say that I would be sad to see him go, I wouldn't be, because this
Mm-hmm.
team is better without
Yeah,
Odell Beckham Jr.
I
Personally
think so too.
speaking, Baker
Yeah,
Mayfield can be able to play freely and not worry about having to force the ball to Odell
yeah,
Beckham Jr. because that seems to be the problem right now. Every outlet you listen to says, "Oh, why isn't Odell getting his touches? He's not getting enough balls thrown at him." And that forces more pressure on the offense to get him the ball rather than just play the game freely. So without
mm-hmm.
Odell Beckham on this team, I think you'll see more Baker's with be a better Baker Mayfield. I don't know if you saw it last week because it was playing in basically Hurricane Katrina weather,
Yeah,
but
that was awful.
yeah, no touchdowns obviously for the Browns, but it's just able to play freely and let the Cleveland Browns offense work rather than Odell Beckham offense.
Yeah. Do they have a bye this week, the Browns?
They do.
Yeah, okay. That's why I thought. I'm like, oh, they're playing this week. Oh, yeah, they don't play. So we'll get to see that next week. We'll see Baker next week and see how he performs without OBJ. But some trades that happened before the trade deadline this week. The Steelers, they acquired Avery Williamson from the Jets for a 2022 fifth and seventh rounder, so adding more weapons to their defense.
Need it, man.
Obviously,
No Devin Bush, that's to fill in.
with no well, Spillane, he got that pick six last game right off the bat. What are you talking about? He's not a starter, but he's one of those players that they're just going to keep in the rotation. But Avery Williamson, that's a guy who's going to be starting, I think. The Tennessee Titans, they get Desmond King from the Chargers
All
for a
pro
sixth rounder.
cornerback.
Yeah, that's a huge for the Titans because they need some help on their defense, in my opinion. So that's a good trade for them, just giving up a sixth rounder for him as well. That's just unbelievable. I don't know why the Chargers would actually give him up. Um, the 49ers, obviously, they needed help on their defense, but they still decide to trade away Quan Alexander to the Saints for a fifth
Mm,
rounder, but they get Kiko Alonso as well. What do you think about
it's a
this
good
trade?
fill
This
in.
is one of
Quan Alexander is, I would say, labeled as an injury riddled player. I believe last year he was out most of the season, and they made the Super Bowl without him. And Fred
Mhm.
Warner is an emerging star, could be all pro this year at the linebacker position. So, I mean, dump some salary with Quan Alexander being off your team, and you add Kiko Alonso, who is no slouch.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think he's that bad. So I think it's a pretty fair trade for both sides. We'll see how it plays out these last few weeks and who won that trade. We'll see who wins. Bill Belichick, he came out and said there's some criticism, but Bill Belichick says that the Pats sold out in previous years, winning those Super Bowls, and he's making excuses for the losses that they're doing right now. Before I get your opinion on them, I just want to say Mike Tomlin
I
would
saw that
never
now.
do that. Mike Tomlin would never do this. He took a third string quarterback to 8-8 last year. He's never had a losing season. Good coaches don't make excuses. Bill Belichick, you don't have Tom Brady, but you do have Cam Newton. You're just not using him right. But what do you think? Do you think it's acceptable for him to
If you look at
be
this
making?
roster, man, I mean, they're not a good team. They aren't.
They're not. They're not.
No, like they're not. Like their defense is subpar at best, rather than the best in the league last year.
Yeah.
Won most of that's how they won most of their games was with that defense, not with the offense. And like their receiving core is just not good. Like Julian Edelman is, I would say, like
That,
he was pumping Tom Brady's tires a lot when he was playing.
yeah.
Like you have a young player, N'Keal Harry, but he's not established. Stephon Gilmore's been in and out of the lineup. Their
Exactly.
linebacking core is abysmal. Like their front, like there's no pass rush. Like this team, it's not a good team. It just isn't.
Yeah. It's true, and I'm sad that Cam Newton's on this team right now. But it's his comeback story. I think that's what it's going to be about. They're going to have a bad season. Maybe they bounce back next year.
Is
Maybe
Cam
hopefully
Newton
no
there next year?
COVID, and they have some healthy players. Healthy. Pardon?
Is Cam Newton there next year?
Pardon?
Do you think Cam Newton
Do you
is going
think
to
he's
be
going to
with the
come back? I
Patriots?
think he'll stay. I think he'll stay with the Patriots, honestly. I think he likes Bill Belichick, and those two have a good relationship together. So I think that he's going to stay, but this season's just going to be like a write-off, in my opinion, at this point, because there's nothing else to prove right now. To get the final little bit here in the NFL, we hear that the Bears released Ted Ginn Jr. He's been one of those receivers who's been all around the league, kinda, and one of those guys who's like a third string, second string type receiver,
From
but
the Ohio State
yeah,
University,
not
I'll
a
have
bad
you know.
receiver. Do you think he's going to get picked up by anyone?
No, I don't know. He's a good player,
Yeah.
good special teams guy. Honestly, like anybody who's making the playoff push or trying to, honestly, the Raiders would be a nice fit. But
Yeah, honestly, that's not a
because they
bad.
did lose Cordell Patterson, or
Yeah.
Cordell Patterson with him, so am I saying him or Green Bay? I know that the Bears released him, and
Green Bay,
honestly,
yeah.
you would never see a Bears player being traded to the Packers, but I think it would
Yeah.
work great because Aaron Rodgers receiver would be nice.
Yeah, could have got Will Fuller at the deadline, but they say no. Um, yeah, I don't know. I think Green Bay is a good option for Ted Ginn. Well, I liked him as a player, but won't talk about Ted Ginn for too long. The 49ers, they're going to be investigated for their COVID-19 protocols just after the Raiders were fined and stripped the draft pick for their COVID-19 protocols as well. Do you think something similar is going to happen to the 49ers?
Well, it didn't happen with the Steelers, which we'll get into in a second, but
Yeah.
this is the second time the Raiders have been violated by COVID protocols. Obviously, 49. Oh, actually, no, Mike Shanahan was fine in week
Yeah.
1 or week 2. So you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if it would be a draft pick taken away.
Yeah, honestly, and I heard I can't remember who in the Raiders. It was one of the CEO or someone high up was just very, very upset with the punishment. He didn't agree with the punishment, and they're gonna appeal the punishment. He said so. Maybe they will appeal it, but for right now, they've had a lot of people getting tested positive. So who knows? And like you said, the Steelers they did get fined as well for COVID-19 protocols, and so did Mike Tomlin. And I realized this. I'm like, Mike, put your fucking mask on during the game. I'm like, Mike, what are you doing? But whatever.
Yeah,
He
like
got
buddy, right? Mike,
buddy.
bro.
Exactly. Mike, you can hear me. Come on. Got the headset on. But
Exactly.
yeah, he got violated. He didn't have his mask on either, so he's obviously going to get fined. Like Jay said earlier, Michael Thomas is back and Breeze are back to play against the Buccaneers this week for the Saints. And like we said earlier, the Cowboys are to start their fourth string quarterback Gilbert at QB versus Steelers. So watch out for that
Rest in peace,
matchup.
Ben DiNucci.
Yeah, one game wonder.
Just one more thing to add to NFL. The
Yeah.
Jets have just been told by the Jets players, told the Player Association that there have been hidden cameras in teams' locker rooms since 2008.
No
NFL
way.
finds no wrongdoing. The NFL has found no wrongdoing. So Spygate, part 2, coming your way for next week. I'm sure we'll hear more about it.
Wow, that's some big news.
So we go to baseball now, who I think this is one of the biggest shocking moves we've going to see in a long time, that the Boston Red Sox are bringing back their former manager, 2018 World Series champion, 2017, pardon me, Alex Cora. No,
2018.
2018, I was right.
Yeah.
Alex Cora is coming back to wear the Red Sox for 2 more years. Are you shocked since you're a Red Sox fan? Are you shocked they brought him back?
Totally shocked after the whole scandal and everything that he was linked with, like the Houston Astros doing their cheating, and he was linked to as well doing in Boston. I'm totally shocked. I did not expect him to bring him back, but
But aren't you happy?
kind of happy at the same
Yeah.
time. Yeah, can't lie.
So yeah, big free agency acquisition would be Boston now because Alex Cora is back. But free agency is just not too far away from us right now. Trevor Bauer, who could be the NL Cy Young Award winner, has hinted at a possible destination north of the border in Toronto, saying it wouldn't be a bad idea if the Jays were to sign him. I quite like this a lot. But
Yeah,
Trevor Bauer is definitely one of the most eccentric personalities in all of baseball, if you would not agree with me.
yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah. But I think a lot more free agency. There's going to be a lot of free agents this year and next year, I would think, with the crap crunch with COVID. If you remember Chris Archer, his name is out there free agency wise, and Rays pitcher Charlie Morton is also on the free agency bubble.
Oh,
Last week, Steve Cohen completed his $2.4 billion purchase of the New York Mets. Steve Cohen is worth a cool $16 billion right now, so he is
cool.
now instantly MLB's most valuable owner.
Yeah.
So maybe he can bring some financial stability to the New York Mets to make it a bit more of a free agency acquisition or a free agent pool to get some more
Yeah.
players into this, to get more players to come to play.
I'd love to see the
And
Mets be good.
exactly. We didn't get to talk about, I think we did mention this once or twice, but Justin Turner has been talked about a lot in the news over the last couple of weeks for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Baseball has come out and said that there'll be no more punishments handed out to Justin Turner for his actions coming onto the field after his positive COVID test. Are you shocked or puzzled?
Both. It's a bit sus if you ask me because you just put everyone at risk. Like it's like, oh, but like here's the thing. I understand you're in the World Series and you're in the middle of the game and they're telling you, hey, you gotta leave.
Okay, first of all, it was the middle of the game.
I'm saying.
So where in this point do you get a test before you play that comes
I'm
back with results?
I'm saying why did it take before during the game to know if he was positive or not? Just awful management by whoever's doing that or like the MLB in general for doing that. But I get his rationale kind of because like I'm in the middle of the game in the finals and we're about to win and I want to be out here celebrating with my team. I can't be. I need to be with my team. And the fact that they couldn't get him to leave just means like,
Selfish.
they have no. He's selfish, and they have no control over the players really, because he just got to stay on. It's very selfish because he's putting every. Not I get like all of you guys are athletes on the field. They're all athletes. They might be fine, but you're putting family members at risk.
Yeah, pregnant family members, kids,
You're putting the personnel who are older
and
members
their
like
parents.
yeah, but you're putting like the guys who like GM, CEOs, and whatnot. They're gonna be older guys, right? Or guys or women, and they're more susceptible because they're older. And he's just putting all of them at risk as well. So I
Well,
just
when
hate
you
to see
say
things
members
like
at
that.
risk, 5 members now have tested positive at
Yeah,
the Dodgers organization. So it's the trickle down effect is happening and it's real.
and a family member too.
It's real and
So
it's happening.
yeah. So yeah, now a bunch of baseball news. We'll get into a bit of hockey news right now. So to start off the bat, some more COVID related news. The OHL says there's going to be no body checking this season due
Absolutely
to COVID.
pathetic.
It is because what are you gonna really do? Like you're playing hockey. We saw it. It was fine in the NHL. No one got tested. Doug Ford came out today. He wants there to be body checking in the OHL.
Absolutely. Doug Fort's the man, bro. He really is.
Yeah,
He is Ferda.
he is Ferda. That's 100% sure. Yeah,
It might be the
but
name of the podcast title for this week.
Ferda,
Doug Ford is Ferda. You're here first.
Doug Ford is Ferda.
Mm.
But yeah, do you think you already kind of like gone to it, but do you like this ruling by
So
the
if I
OHL?
was playing in the O, I would not be playing if there's no
Mm-hmm.
body checking because I think it's going to hurt a lot of people's draft stocks because you're not playing the game the way it should be played.
And yeah, it's just so what I think is I just saw Brendan Shanahan today too. He said like, oh, in today's game, I don't think there's much place for fighting or big hits or anything. I agree with that. But body checking, even just bumping its boards, that's just part of the
Instinct.
game. And
You
it's like
can't stop it.
split second. It's not like they're spinning on each other. I'm totally like you
Like
know
it's
me.
not
Like
the Brad
I'm like
Marchand rule here.
but like I'm like the guy who's most worried about COVID-19, right? Like I'm like very all over the place. Like I'm very like like I'm not going anywhere. But the fact that they're doing this, it kind of bothers me because you saw the NHL could do it. If OHL has a bubble to do it, then they should just be body checking. I don't agree
Uh,
with this at
so
all.
if there's no body checking, I think there should be no season. Like if you're gonna
Yeah, honestly.
tinker with the foundations of hockey, it should not be played. Like I'm sure everyone wants to see some
Yeah,
OHL hockey, but if it's not going to be quality hockey like you're normally used to seeing it, don't play.
yeah. And we'll see some players probably dispute it as well. So we'll see what
I'm sure
happens
there'll
in
be
the
a lot of
coming.
opt-outs.
Exactly.
World
Um,
Juniors are going to be more important than ever this year.
yeah, 100% to showcase your talent and get onto those teams for your country. The NHL, they said they're not going to go any lower than 48 games next season, which is obviously good. That's above half of the season that they're going to be able to play. So that's some good news because we want to see as many games as possible. And they have to get this right onto the right track again, right? Like we want to start at the original date that we started in October for next season. So
Hmm.
just find a way to make that happen again, and everything will go smoothly from there. Some not big signings, but some signings for some teams in the NHL. The Red Wings signed Anthony Mantha to a 4-year deal worth $5.7 million a year.
Pretty good
Like,
player, bro.
that's a good signing for them because Mantha's a big body and is a good player for them. So it's good that they locked him up. Um, Tyler Seguin and Ben Bishop are both out for 5 months each after their surgeries that they just had. So what's this mean for the Dallas Stars? Are they going to see a big decrease in anything?
I don't know, bro. Tyler Seguin was pretty.
And so is Ben Bishop.
Well, Ben Bishop was hurt, so come on.
Exactly. But I'm
But so
saying,
was Sagan. So was Sagan. But they did
yeah,
make the cup final without a 100% Sagan and not even Ben
Kudobin.
Bishop. So
Exactly.
Goodobin's going to stand on his feet, and they have some good young talent. So I mean, I don't know if they're going to be going away per se,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
they'll be challenging for playoff spot, and they're going to get these guys back.
Yeah, these guys are going to come back, maybe hopefully for playoff time, but we'll see. Um, the Islanders, they signed Ryan Pulock to a 2-year, $10 million contract. So locking up another good defenseman for the Islanders. Islanders, if I was like a free agent right now, or like not right now, but let's say I was a free agent in the NHL, the Islanders are one of the teams I'd be looking to go for right now.
Hmm.
And they just have a lot of good young talent. Their goalies aren't like amazing, but they're good, and their defense is pretty good. Like they're not a bad team, and I would want if I were the Islanders, I'd be looking for a big star just to bring to the team right now who wants the shot at the cup because I think the Islanders are a team like that. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think they overperformed last year. But Semyon Varlamov, I would say, I think I saw a poll the other day with like the most underrated goalie in the league, and
Yeah,
it was Semyon Varlamov and Darcy Kemper from
Kemper. Yeah.
Arizona, who are the
Mm-hmm.
top two. Matt Barzal is an emerging star. Anders
Yeah.
Lee, another underrated player. This is a whole bunch of underrated players on this team.
Pajot.
Pajot, exactly.
Like he's kind of nasty, but yeah. So who knows? The Islanders might be pushing for a cup soon. Who knows? Um, And to end it off with the NHL, we got some news from Alexander Ovechkin. He says that he wants to end his career with Dynamo Moscow in the KHL. And like a lot of Russian players do, they want to end it in the KHL, right?
But he
So,
did say he's got at least 5 more years left with Washington.
that's good then.
So,
I don't want to see him leave
bit of a
anytime
silver
soon.
lining.
He's got to break some records or something.
Yeah, he's got to break the goal record.
Yeah.
Well, we moved to the association, who's been making a lot of headways this week because we have a actual start date now with the association being December 22nd. So we're going to have basketball for the holidays.
Let's go.
70. It will be a 72 game season,
Okay. Nice.
and we've yet to hear on the actual place where the Raptors are going to be playing basketball.
Yeah.
Obviously, we now know it will not be Louisville, Kentucky. Kansas City is what I've heard is an emerging spot, thanks to your boy, Mr. $500 million man, Patrick Mahomes, pushing
Yeah.
for the Raptors to
He
be
wants
playing
some money.
there. Do you see any scenario where the Raptors play in Toronto?
I do. I honestly think that they might be able to play in Toronto. But then again, it's going to be it's all up to what happens in the U.S. and how they control COVID in the next month. So there's a possibility, but I say it's slim, and I do see them going to the U.S. to play in
Yeah,
another
speaking of
major city.
possibilities, there's also a possibility for them to come back playing in the Prudential Center in Jersey, where Jay Kidd made his money with the New Jersey Nets. So I'm sure if they allow fans, I don't know if they will or not, but if they do, I'm sure a lot of people will love to see some basketball in Jersey.
Yeah, that's 100% true.
The Philadelphia 76ers have locked up their general manager, Elton Brand, to a multi-year extension. This is after finding a new president of basketball operations in Daryl Morey, who was formerly from the Houston Rockets, and have now looked at the possible scenario they might be signing James Harden.
Or pursue James Harden. Yeah, I do not think James Harden is going anywhere. I was reading more about the Houston GM, like why he's there, and he says he's there because of James Harden and Russell Westbrook. He does not want to move them. He wants to keep them, and I think he's not afraid of signing a big man because they have PJ Tucker, who's only 6'5" at their center, and they need a bigger body, in my opinion. If they get a bigger body, their team could be pretty
Yeah,
nasty.
the Clint
So
Capella trade is looking worse and worse as the
yeah,
days go longer.
yep.
So Ben Simmons for James Harden 1-for-1. Yeah,
I don't
nice.
think so. I don't think so. I don't think
Really?
so.
So if you're Houston, you don't take that trade?
I do not. No, I do not.
Okay. Okay. But we stick with NBA, like we said, December 22nd is the start date. And if you check your watches, today is November the 7th, going to November the 8th. So if you're looking at the Lakers, you're looking at the Heat, you have about a month and a half to recover and come back and play.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
yeah.
LeBron's not happy with that, is he?
Exactly. The
Yeah.
Atlanta Hawks are looking to hire former Pacers head coach Nate McMillan as an assistant coach. Assistant coach is looking pretty stark this year, if you ask me. If you
Yeah.
look at Brooklyn staff, Mike D'Antoni, Mari Stoudemire. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's gonna be pretty
lastly,
good.
Milwaukee is looking to acquire Pacers All-Star Victor Oladipo. Possible they need some secondary scoring. Chris Middleton
Yeah.
couldn't get it done for Milwaukee against Miami. That's why I'm saying. That's what I'm
Yeah.
thinking.
Yeah.
But possibly a big three would you think of Oladipo, Giannis, and Chris Middleton. And
That's what they need. That's what they need right now.
the
They need a
person
big
I've heard
three.
that is looking to leave would be Eric Bledsoe.
Really.
I'm not a huge fan of Eric
Yeah.
Bledsoe because he doesn't really do much for you on the offensive side of the ball, and
Yeah.
most of his work is done on the defensive side. So
Yeah.
they need offense, bro. Because Giannis, I know he
They
gets
have.
a lot of his points, but it's all in the paint. They need like LeBron, that 2016 Cavs team, who I love to point out because 2016 beat 7-3-9, not a big deal, but
Whatever.
they had a lot of shooters. Like if you LeBron drove the lane and you passed out, oh Kyle Korver, oh Kevin Love, oh Channing
Kyrie.
Frye, Kyrie, like
Exactly. Those are all shooters.
J.R. Smith, Iman Shumpert,
Yeah.
all shooters.
Just let
And
LeBron drive or pass out.
if you look at like Kyle Korver is obviously not the Kyle Korver that was
Yeah.
4 years ago,
Yeah.
but Giannis kick it out. Chris Middleton can shoot three. I'll give you that. But other than that, it's Brooke Lopez.
Yeah. Exactly.
So they need guys that can shoot the ball.
I agree. And then just to finish it off, just a nice little milestone from Travis Etienne this past weekend, or today, should I say. He becomes the ACC's all-time rusher, uh, largely due to the fact that Trevor Lawrence didn't play because he had COVID-19, so he did get a lot of touches, but congratulations to him because he probably would have been anyways in the next week or two.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to finish off that because I'm a big Clemson fan, so.
Oh my God. But I'm sure it won't be up live when this is happening, but Clemson is taking on Notre Dame Saturday night. And
Yep.
just for a quick update, but I'm sure everyone was going to be watching this when this is over. But Notre Dame is up 7-0 over the Tigers of Clemson on the 65-yard rush to start off the game. How
Wow.
are you? But, do you know the Clemson quarterback? Can you please?
No.
Oh my! His name is
Why?
Big Cinco, but his last name is what you call a little tough to pronounce. So we'll get it for you next week because Malcolm is just so great at pronouncing last names. Thierry Henry. Oh, nice. So
All
we'll
right.
get that name for Malcolm to get going for next week. But Trevor Wakayama is coming back after being disrespected by the polls this week.
Yeah, I know. I saw that was hilarious. I voted for myself. I knew who won.
Disrespected by the polls this week.
Yeah.
He's
He even
coming back
mentioned that to me.
to maybe put some more respect on his name with post 2000s NBA trivia. Hopefully, we'll have a football trivia coming up soon because that's what we've been lacking so far.
So Trevor actually volunteered to be a moderator if you want. So me against you.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So we could go
Football
me against you
trivia?
for football trivia. I'd be down. Yeah. We're
Okay.
we're both have losing records right now. We got to go
hmm
against each other.
Yeah,
Got to
first
get a win
win.
here.
First win. But yeah,
Exactly.
okay. Big news. So
Let's go.
we'll be back this week to bring Trevor versus Malcolm Part 2 post 2000s NBA trivia. In the meantime, keep watching, subscribe, like, comment, share, everything. Because you know what? We're on that road to 100, baby. We've been saying it for a
Still on the
while,
road.
but we are still on it. It's straight,
Yeah.
it's narrow, it's clean, it's nice. There's no bumps, cracks,
Tunnel
ruts,
vision.
nothing. It's
Tunnel
a straight
vision.
shot.
Exactly.
But yes, Malcolm Trevor Part 2 coming live next week. Until then, it's Jacob.
And cold.